Are you aware that more than 60% of personal bankruptcy filings in the US relates to medical debt? Can you imagine how disturbing it feels to receive a gargantuan bill and think that you may be forced to choose the cost between your health and your house rent? The encouraging thing, you do not have to be held hostage by those bills. There are options, real options, that can be employed to reduce medical bills starting right now. But here's the rub. Most people do not know where they should start. It is not the figures on the bills alone. It is also the emotional aspect, the worry, the tension, and the anxiety of not knowing what will happen. That's where we're coming in right at this moment. And stay with me because I'll explain to how to manage your medical expenses. And when you reach the end of this video, you will have learned how to cut costs by thousands of dollars. Yes, thousands. You got it right. Thousand. 1. The pain of the problem. It is no news that within today's society, most people are bound to rely on healthcare services. If we step into the shoes of any user of the healthcare system, the following complaints will seem true. Information is scarce, healthcare is expensive, and at times it seems that the patient has absolutely no control. It can be an unwarranted exotic vacation where without understanding the reason, the bill magically arrives. A bill after a sudden trip to the ER, a routine surgical procedure, or just your general checkup will always leave you in haze about the amount charged. And, naturally, who doesn't prickle at the thought of the dreaded out-of-network fees, or extra fees that their health insurance company doesn't pay? It just looks completely outside one's realm of winning. What about that moment when you have received a medical bill and felt a heavy weight in your stomach? One will certainly squirm at the thought of the time when they find the words, "I will never afford this." Unfortunately, it seems very few people don't go through it. Yet, so many people just don't think twice about it, just pay off the bill, assuming that there is no option left. The fact is this, you have more power than you know. Now, what if I informed you that hospitals, physicians, and yes, even duct tape clad insurance companies are not as rigid as these companies want you to think? That you can push back, debate, and even get certain costs done away with? Firstly, I totally understand. Even arguing with your doctor about money feels awkward. And who would ever think of even bargaining with a hospital? However, this is not the case. You just need to understand what must be done. 2. Taking action. The ways in which you can cut costs. Let us dismantle the solution to the problem, one step at a time. In this regard, here are some things that can instantly assist you in reducing some of your medical costs. Most importantly, negotiate with your provider. Yes, I did hear you correctly. You can, and in fact, should negotiate. Doctors and hospitals would prefer to receive something instead of nothing. It is surprising to most people that healthcare providers are often in a position to offer discounts, payment arrangements, or even cut fees if you simply ask. Take, for instance, a friend of mine, Mark, once had a minor surgical procedure and was amazed at the bill of $7,000 post-insurance coverage. Rather than putting up with it, he made a few phone calls. They called him back and agreed to lower his outstanding balance to $3,500, simply because he had asked. What a thought. In some phone calls, 6 figures worth of price is obliterated. Next, let's shift our focus to something a bit challenging for some of us. That is, understanding your insurance. After all, who likes reading a document that boasts of long excess content? But here's the deal. If you can't estimate the insurance you're covered, then you might as well be throwing away thousands of dollars. For this reason, it is important to fully understand your policy, and if there is a certain section or paragraph that you do not understand, then reach out to your insurance provider. Make them clarify the wording, even if it means breaking them down one at a time. A recent survey indicated that people who understood how their insurance worked were able to save about 20% of their medical bills. And some of them didn't pay a lot because many people simply don't know who's covered and who's not. It's not only knowing the coverage, but understanding why certain items are covered. Preventive care? Well, for the most part, it's usually covered in full. which is another point in all of us idiots who avoid general screening thinking there will be charges. Lastly, let's address something even more interesting: complementary care options. It's not absolutely vital to get costly prescriptions or medical procedures. Acupuncture, chiropractic, even physical therapy, all these are possible alternative treatments in the right circumstances, and their costs may also be included in your policy. What if I told you that there is another one, which can stop a number of these bills from being raised in the first place? More on that in a second. 3. Proactive and preventive solutions. The third strategy, which would cut down on healthcare expenses: preventative care and wellness. This is not just staying away from the doctor, but stopping the risk of having to face larger problems at a later date, which would be more costly. Annual physical and blood tests, or becoming healthy in general, can help one avoid huge bills at a later time. Prevention is less expensive than cure. For example, if one decreases the levels of cholesterol in the body today, he or she will not require heart surgery tomorrow, and any other procedures required as a result of that surgery. Now the most interesting part. You can be sure that people just like you have started implementing these strategies and are getting fantastic results. The other day I had a conversation with Sarah, a mother of two, who found herself with a staggering $15,000 medical bill for what she said was a standard medical procedure. She managed to take that bill from $15,000 down to $5,000 through negotiating, understanding her insurance, and seeking alternative care options. She felt relief not only in the form of savings, but she said that the burden was now emotional. She would say that she was not back in the driver's seat of her life. And now, about that secret that I told you about. There is one last tip that is easy to learn, a hack, if you will, to help cut down healthcare costs. However, very few people know how to utilize this effectively. Now for that last hack: medical billing advocates. These are people who go to war for your medical bills. These are professionals in the field who manage to lower your bills 30 to 50% in most cases. What is best about this? They usually charge you only when they manage to save you money. If you ever feel that the odds are against you, think of this as a strong tool to have on your side. Thank you for watching. Do you have a story to tell because you have managed to cut down your medical bills using any of these methods? Help us to inspire one another. If you enjoyed this video, connect with us so that you can be notified when we upload more content. Goodbye until we meet again.